Every environment grows over time. Engineers add services, teams integrate third-party tools, and temporary test systems get created and sometimes forgotten. Each of those changes adds reachability, another place an attacker might look. Surface reduction is the deliberate work of reversing that trend, removing unnecessary exposure, tightening what must remain reachable, and making sure growth doesn't create new doors. I'll be practical here, not abstract. Reduction falls into 3 things you'll do repeatedly. Eliminate what you don't need, protect what you must keep open, and contain the damage when something breaks. Start with inventory and prioritization. Know what's out there and assign owners. Prioritize by 3 simple questions. How valuable is the asset? How likely is it to be exposed? And how wide is the possible damage if it's compromised? High value, high exposure, and a wide blast radius get fixed first. That triage keeps you from chasing low-risk noise. When you eliminate, do the obvious. Remove forgotten staging servers, retire unused domains and APIs, and delete idle cloud resources and snapshots. Use tags and automation so assets created for a sprint are destroyed automatically. Temporary environments must have an expiry mechanism. If it doesn't, it will become permanent. For things that must remain reachable, focus on protection. Require strong authentication and MFA for admin screens. Put management behind bastions, private endpoints, or VPNs. Harden public apps with WAFs and rate limiting, and rotate keys often. These controls don't need to break development velocity if you bake them into templates and tooling. Containment is the architecture piece. Segment networks so a breach of one service doesn't let an attacker walk into everything. Enforce least privilege IAM and deny by default policies. Compartmentalize sensitive data stores and isolate third-party integrations into separate accounts or networks. Assume breaches will happen, design for failure. Automation is what makes reduction repeatable. IAC templates should default to safe choices. Pre-merge checks should block risky config changes. Policy as code can remediate common problems automatically. A newly created bucket is private by default, and a CI/CD job will not proceed if it's public. These guardrails prevent accidents rather than just fixing them after the fact. But you also need verification. External scans and certificate transparency monitoring tell you what the outside world can see. Combine that with internal telemetry, cloud inventory, access logs, and secret scanning, and you have a feedback loop. Track metrics, how many internet-facing assets you have, how quickly you remediate exposures, and how often guardrails are violated. Those numbers show progress and guide investment. There's also an organizational side. Assign ownership for assets and require security sign-off for public endpoints and third-party integrations. Provide safe, self-service patterns so teams don't spin up shadow infrastructure just to get work done. Train engineers on common pitfalls, temporary environments, default permissions, and loose automation, and make remediation easy. A practical example ties it together. A team finds multiple staging hosts and an open analytics bucket. They tag and retire unused hosts, set the bucket to private, enforce MFA on admin panels, and add automated teardown to their deployment pipeline. Within a few weeks, the number of internet-facing assets drops significantly, and noisy alerts become meaningful again. That's the power of reduction. To wrap up, surface reduction is continuous, not a one-time project. Eliminate what you can, protect what you must keep, and contain the rest. Automate guardrails, verify externally, assign ownership, and measure results. When you shrink your surface, you reduce the work attackers need to do, and you make your detection and response more effective.